You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Since 1999, the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run has been contributing millions of dollars to the health and welfare of Jamaican children. The event has become the largest 5K in the Caribbean, and thousands of people converge in New Kingston to participate in this event. Business Access TV is here, and I'm Javon Keys, and my co-host Jamila Maitland will join us a little later on. As you can tell, the sun is already out and the race is already underway.
What was the extent of planning that went into executing an event like this?
We've been planning Sigma for about a year now. The last 3 weeks are probably the most hectic of all. But, you know, we have over 300 volunteers that contribute to the success of this, including our sponsors. The group marketing department is the engine behind Sigma Run, and I mean, it's the hardest job we do all year, but it's the most rewarding as well. As you can imagine, there are several lists of persons who are in need, and basically the Sagicor Foundation board eventually makes the ultimate decision, but the decision is made mostly on the need of each of the beneficiaries, who has the greatest need. We tend to focus a lot on health and the health of children for the Sigma Run. So over the years, we've supported a lot of neonatal units, a lot of companies or hospitals that support children as well. So that is a major part of the decision making when it comes to choosing the beneficiaries, but the ultimate decision is made by the board of the Sagicor Foundation. Dearest to our heart, I think this year is the Lupus Foundation. Our Startline MC died from lupus, and so we felt that the Lupus Foundation would have been a good beneficiary to have this year. The Diabetes Foundation is also one of our beneficiaries. We don't pay a lot of attention to diabetes in Jamaica, so we decided that they would be also a good option, you know, for us to support. They need the support, they need some backing, and the Maypen Hospital neonatal unit, we have been there, we visit the hospitals, and we have seen I wouldn't call it deplorable, but there is great need in our public health system. And so I think, you know, those are all very deserving charities this year, and Sagicor is happy to stand behind them. I think we did a pretty good execution. We had a clean execution. I can't complain. There is no way to avoid the hours. We try our best. I mean, every year we try to do something a little different, set up the start line a little earlier, you know. But we have a lot of support. We have a lot of support from our sponsors. We have a lot of support from the technical people around us. I think we did a pretty smooth, not perfectly flawless, but we did a very good execution. We're proud of what we did. We're happy it's over. 27,000 people registered there, the most in the history of Sigma. And we've also raised the most we've ever raised, 52 million for our charities. So we're pleased. We think we did a good job. You can still donate. You can visit the Sagicor Sigma Run website, or you can call the Sagicor Foundation 1-888-SAGICOR and ask how you can donate. That is the number for our contact care center. They will put you onto the Sagicor Foundation, and you can still make a donation after today.
So with me now is one of the celebrity faces for the Sigma Corporate Run, Mr. Johan Blake. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling good this morning.
So share with us, why did you choose to contribute to the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run?
You know, the first time I contributed, Sagicor made the highest money, and they know that I have good luck, so they brought me back. And I'm here not just because of that, but to save life. It's a great cause for me to walk with Sagicor on this long journey.
So what would you say to other persons who may be thinking about contributing?
I said, don't think, just act.
Thanks for staying tuned to BATV's coverage of the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run 2019, the largest 5K in the Caribbean. Stay tuned for more happenings.
Doggin Global Introduction. Doggin Global is an integrated multidisciplinary professional service firm. We are integrated as one firm and provide several professional services, including audit, accounting, tax, IT, risk, HR, performance, M&A, corporate recovery, and other advisory services. The firm is organized in several professional service units, which includes Dog and Auditors, Dog and Advisors, Dog and Legal, Dog and Finance, Dog and HR Solutions, Dog and Tech Solutions, Dog and Media, Dog and Corporate Secretarial. If you are interested in any of our services, please contact us for a free quote. Email info@doggin.global. Website doggin.global.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price. It's Island Hour, free eye test.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
We're here with Dayton Lawton, who was one of the very first contestants to finish the race. What was your perception going into the race?
Well, I do this race every year, and I'm always happy to do it. I think Sagicor has done a great job growing the race every year. It's 27,000 contestants ran this year. The management was great, and I felt good running this race today. Chris and the CEOs of Sagicor in the past have always been very astute about what they're doing with the money. So it's not just giving to a cause and you don't find out how these funds are actually being utilized. You shared a story about going to the hospital and giving them ventilation machines for infants. And it's always very important to understand how your money is benefiting the community.
What would you say to somebody who probably missed this year's Sagicor?
If you missed it and you can't be here, I would say still contribute. You don't necessarily need to run, but if you have an opportunity to give towards a cause.
So how was the race?
Apart from the bobbing and weaving, it was absolutely wonderful. You can see we're out of breath.
So tell us, why was it important for you and your team to come out to support the Sigma Corporate Run?
It's a part of our corporate social responsibility. We believe in giving back. We sell gas and we rely on the public to support our business, and we believe in giving back. So we thought this was a worthy cause to do that.
Well, this is my 5th time doing Sigma, and I didn't really train, but it was okay. Yeah, started Jamaica.
And you? I started Jamaica. It was fun, and even though it's my first time, I enjoyed it a lot.
Run was wonderful. It's my once-a-year exercise, and I've been doing this for the past 5 years. I think it was good, so that's it for my exercise for the year.
It's my first time, and it's a really great experience. You know, I'm a track and field athlete, so I'm just preparing for a wonderful season.
Of course, adults are not the only persons who participate in Sagicor's Sigma Corporate Run. We also have the children. Could you tell Mosquito, what do you think about the race?
I think it was long and it was very tiring, but I managed to finish.
You're here with your siblings. What do they think of the race?
Well, it was tiring. I do track and field, but this was really exhausting, and my legs hurt now. So.
Nice. So what was your position in the race? Do you know?
Well, the race was all right. But I gave up a few times, but I still made it.
Nice, thank you.
Guys, they're representing the Jamaicans for Justice. How was the race for you?
You know, it was all right. A bit disappointed this year, but you know, next year we're coming back bigger and better. Time of about 37, not feeling too happy about that, but you know, still good.
How about you?
Well, it was good, but I was expecting sub 30, but 33, 42. Could have been better though.
Of course, other than the fact that we're supporting the hospital project, I have to be running today because we're running for a cause. We all ran for justice today. And of course, I know my time is going to be very impressive. It's below 30. I'm not quite sure what the time is just for. But of course, we came out and we ran for justice, and I'm very pleased for that today.
So the Lupus Foundation will be one of the beneficiaries of the Sagicor Sigma Run this year.
It's awesome. Like every year they go for something different. And this year we're doing this for Elvar. We're doing this for the people who lost the fight and who's still going on and still pushing, basically.
What do you say to somebody who probably doesn't know much about Sagicor Corporate Run and the beneficiaries and what it is that they're going for? What would you tell somebody?
Even if you don't run, just go ahead. Pay the money, make a donation, buy something. Like my lace, I just went ahead and just bought the shoelace just because.
Tell us what you thought about the race.
So it was a very good race and I really appreciated it. It's always good to run for charity because helping other persons, that's the way to go, And it was a really good race for me. I really did more than what I expected. So it's an awesome one.
Going into the race, what was your perception and what do you think after?
Funnily enough, I thought this was a 5K and at the end I realized it was a 5.5. So at that point I was really beat. But it was an awesome feeling and it's great to be supporting this cause. Big ups to Sagicor. I look forward to the next 5K.
Top running athletes last year. What was your perception coming into the race this year?
Well, I didn't think I was going to make it, honestly, but I decided I really wanted to do it and to do it better. But I thought that this year the race seemed shorter, so I must have got some extra energy, which I don't know what it came from, where it came from.
The race is more like a fitness for you, or is it something that you normally do every year?
I've done it 3 years. This is my 3rd year, but I do a lot of walking every day.
So did you actually run with the babies on you like this?
About 2.5 Ks. Look what it says here.
Was that Daddy's cardio?
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think about the race?
It was fabulous. The water stops were strategically placed. Everything went well. First time for the babies, about the 5th time for me.
That was a short bit from some of the runners and walkers here at the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Run. Stay with us for more highlights.
Dodge & Global Marketing Strategy Consulting. Marketing isn't a department, it's a system. Having an integrated and cohesive marketing plan allows each marketing technique to support the others, thereby creating a synergy of branding and growth for your business. Dodge & Global can assist you in making smart decisions with lasting value in regard to the following key decisions. Determine if there is a paying market for your products and services. Craft long-term and short-term marketing goals. Define marketing campaigns. Create marketing strategies. Select powerful marketing techniques to reach your audience. Choose a brand and image that reflects your core message. Design marketing materials. Design internet marketing strategies. Track marketing results to determine the strongest techniques. Because it's so important to create an integrated marketing strategy that will bring in business. Get advice and mentoring from people who are already successful marketing experts. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
So as you would imagine, a number of groups would have come out to participate in the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. We're about to hear from some of them. All right, so Jason, what size team you have here today? Did the whole office come out?
Well, approximately 50% of our staff. We have in excess of 30 people here today from JAA.
Great, so why was it important for you guys to come out and support this cause?
Well, for one, JN Group overall has been a long-standing supporter of Sigma and the Jamaica Automobile Union Association. We specialize in mobility and moving people, so we want to ensure that our people are moving as well.
How is this in line with your corporate social responsibility?
Well, we are about giving back, and the cause, the whole Sigma is about giving back, so it falls in line with what we are about.
So with me now is Suzette Morrison. She's the team captain with Wisynco Group. So tell us, why was it important for Wisynco to participate in the Sigma Corporate Run 2019?
Well, the Sigma Corporate Run signifies helping other companies and helping the sick and needy. And Wisynco being the innovators, we always want to ensure that we play our corporate role and a corporate social responsibility to be a part of the good.
So did you run this morning?
No, unfortunately, I was here setting up to ensure that the team was okay, and they came out, 150 strong. We came out and we participated, and they had fun.
This definitely is a worthy cause, and giving back is an important thing for corporate companies such as ourselves. So participation and support for the obvious cause is very important.
Seems like you have a very large team. What's the number?
I think we're over 120 thereabout.
For me, it was a walk in the park.
Very easy, very easy.
How important was it for you to participate in this run?
Well, we do it for a cause, we do it every year, and we think it is extremely relevant at this time.
Plus, it also helps us to remain healthy.
All right, so there you have it from some of our educators representing the JTA here at the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run 2019. So after having such an early start this morning, Jamila and I were just getting a chance to catch up. So from what I've been seeing, the race has been going very good. There are thousands of people out. It's probably the largest year of Sigma Corporate Run, because for the years I've been seeing it, every year it gets bigger and better, right, Jam?
A little birdie actually told me that it's actually 27,000 persons who registered, and they might have even passed their $52 million mark.
Well, but that's great, because Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run is all about corporate social responsibility and helping to ensure the welfare of our nation's children. So it's always a great cause. Number of companies out, a number of groups, a number of individuals. We saw persons from different ages, from very small to very old, and they're going. So it was a good day, wouldn't you agree?
Of course it was. It really, I can't believe. I think the entire Jamaica is here right now at Emancipation Park.
Certainly, Jam, it was an extraordinary morning. Though we had to wake up very early to be here. It was great, right?
It really was.
All right, so we're going to take a break right now, and then we're going to head to the stage to see our winners for the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. Stay tuned.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
So, Ms. Walker, tell us, why does Sagicor keep doing this every single year since 1999?
So it has been 21 years that Sagicor Foundation has been solidly behind the charities to really give back. Healthcare is a big thing for our brand, and we always want to find and identify those needs that really have a big impact on Jamaican lives. So this year we've identified the Diabetes Foundation of Jamaica, Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, and also the Mapen Hospital, specifically the neonatal intensive care units.
Have you been seeing the impact of the contributions you've been making?
Oh yes, we have. Certainly over the years we've made so many different contributions to various different sectors in the health area, and also in terms of children. We do support children causes as well. Last year we supported St. Christopher's Home for the Deaf. We supported the Spanish-owned hospital. So we try to touch every single pocket of the Ministry of Health as well, too, because that is a major area that really impacts a lot of Jamaicans' lives on a daily basis.
So, Principal, I would ask, why focus on children?
I mean, the children are the future. It's cliche, but it's actually real. If we actually focus on our children and we actually focus on the future and making that future so much better, brighter for our children. Now, we can't be selfish. We always have to continue to pay it forward, and so that we know that Jamaica will be a better place.
So how do you rate 2019 for the Sagicor Sigma run?
Oh God, 2019 has been amazing. It has been awesome. It has been off the chain. So this year we've broken 2 records. So last year we had a record-breaking 26,000 participants. This year we've got up to 27,000 persons. And also we shattered our record in terms of the target. So our target last year was 50 million. This year it's 52, and we went over a bit. So we did $52,400,000. So we are absolutely proud as a team to be able to give back so much to Jamaica.
Certainly. So what can we expect for 2020?
I mean, we're going to start planning right now, and in true Sagicor strong style, we're going to come bigger, we're going to come better, and we're always going to be looking for that next needy cause. And there's so many causes in Jamaica that need the funding and need the support. So look out for us, we're coming.
Congratulations to the winner, Alfonso Cunningham. On the clap upon Alfonso, please.
How does it feel to become the first place winner for the male wheelchairers in the Sagicor Sigma run this year?
It's a great feeling, but I've been Sigma for a couple of years now. So to be, the winner this time around again, it's a wonderful feeling. And I'm happy I'm doing it for, a worthy cause and so forth. So that's why I try to push out the necessary effort to be here.
Put your hands together. Sylvia, we're friends long time. Long time, Sylvia. Congratulations.
You placed first this year and last year, 5 years in a row. So tell me, how does that feel? What level of training or intensity of the training does it feel?
We have a cart where we run, we push it like we and run it in the grass every day.
How important is it for persons to participate in runs like these?
It's good because when we're out there, people can see us and see that anything they can do, we can do it too.
Describe to us, what's the feeling becoming the first place winner of this year's Sagicor Sigma Run?
It's a great feeling, and this is my second year doing it.
Would you describe to us, what was the run in general? What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it?
I like the fun run part. We have the foam and all those stuff, and the fact that we're supporting charities. So yeah, it was a good run.
What was your time?
19 minutes and 2 seconds.
Male overall, his time, ridiculous. 19 minutes, 32 seconds. Well, look clap up, Caroline, please. Hello, hi.
I came 4th overall and 2nd for corporate.
Everybody just give me
I represent
clap,
Separate Limited, and this is not my first event, but it's a wonderful event. I enjoyed it.
We are here with Odain Davidson, the first place winner in the under 16 category. Tell us, how does it feel?
It is hard, yeah, very hard. And yeah, I get competition in it, and yeah, it was a good race.
Is this your first time doing it, and what's your time?
I don't know my time yet, but it's not the first time I'm doing it.
My name is Anna K. Swaby, and I'm representing Chiselfit, and I came first in the female walk.
How was that for you?
It was, I'm going to be honest with you, it was a bit challenging, but I managed to maneuver the crowd and came first. So it was very good, but challenging.
So clearly this isn't your first time doing a 5K walk, because take a particular technique, right?
No, it hasn't been my first 5K, but my first Sigma. And my goal was just come here, come first. That was it.
But separate apart from you coming to compete, I'm sure there must be another reason why you came here to represent.
Of course, there's another reason. The number one reason, of course, is doing it for the cause. That's the most important thing. So me coming first is just a bonus, right? So just going out there, doing what I can do for those persons who can't do it themselves, and hoping that I inspire somebody else to come on out and support the cause.
So you said this was your first year. Will we see you next year?
Of course.
So I know that this is something that you do. We saw you at the True Juice Orchards last year, and you're here again. How was this one for you?
Well, this one was a record break when walk for me. I'm improving each year, and I really came out here to get the record of 28 minutes. I did it, and I'm very happy. I'm looking for greater things, and I want to see myself out there representing Jamaica internationally. This is my 3rd year winning it also. The first year, 2017, I did 30 minutes. Last year, 29. This year, 28.
So will you be back next year?
Definitely. All things being well.
All right, thank you so much, and congratulations. As much as we didn't get a chance to run, we actually finished the race, right, Jam?
We did.
So that brings us to the end of our 2019 coverage of the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. I've been your host, Javon Keys.
And I'm Jamila Maitland.
And you've been tuned into Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business. The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
Roads remain the essential network of the non-virtual world. They are the infrastructure upon which almost all other infrastructure depends. They are the paths of human endeavor. That statement by American author Ted Conover always resonates with me, and even more so now that the island's road network is getting a well-needed facelift. Hello there, thanks for joining us on Jamaica Magazine. I'm Sandra Clark. We'll explore government's work to make our roads safer and more convenient. So please, continue to turn the pages of today's magazine with us.
How are you going all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport, I come for renewing, you know. But you want me to show me no in that place full of crown and a long line that take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And...
No, man, things improve, man. Them have a lot of drop box where you can use inside. They finish in no time.
Yeah,
man, them are done.
Yeah. Want some food, man? Try this. A drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, September 25. Budgetary allocations for the 2019-2020 financial year have increased by $50 billion. The first supplementary estimates were tabled on Tuesday by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark. This means the government will now spend $853 billion compared to the $803 billion that was projected in March. The increase was primarily driven by a $45.4 billion increase in the allocation for public debt servicing, with $40.2 billion for payment of debt amortization and $5.2 billion for interest charges. In the adjustments, $5 billion went to the Major Infrastructure Development Program to carry out additional work. $3.5 billion was cut from the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project due to the slow pace of works. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Justice received $530 million to carry out further renovation work at Public Building West, which houses the Court of Appeal and the offices of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The estimates will be reviewed by Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, as well as the Standing Finance Committee, before going to the House for approval. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has directed the Ministry of National Security and the security forces to investigate and take firm action against all instances of public mischief. He also urged the National Security Ministry to bring the full force of law on persons who misuse social media to create panic. The Prime Minister's instructions follow several incidents which caused a disruption in the corporate area's public transportation system. Mr. Holness says he has been assured by the security forces and the Ministry of Transport that all the necessary arrangements have been made to ensure the transportation sector returns to normality. In the meantime, the Prime Minister has commended the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch and taxi operators who provided transportation services to members of the public during the disturbances. He also expressed sympathies to the families of the JUTC employee and the taxi driver who were killed. In the meantime, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, resumed normal services today following a meeting with the company's management, its drivers, and union representatives. Yesterday's meeting follows a halt of service by the state-run bus company. The disruption in service was triggered by the death of one of the company's drivers and alleged threats on the lives of others.
We have had meetings with the unions, drivers, ministry staff, and the police. We have consulted with the police, who have established a presence at all depots and along the routes. This is to provide assurance to the taxi operators, JUTC drivers, as well as to the traveling public. Mr. Speaker, we have consulted with the various taxi associations in the KMTR and in Kota. They have assured of normal service by their members.
Transport Minister Robert Montague gave the update during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. Minister Montague says the opposition spokesman and other stakeholders have been briefed on the matter. The minister also says he will continue to monitor the situation and update the country.
We appeal to all Jamaicans to be calm and lend a helping hand where they can. We urge peace, calm, and a return to normalcy as soon as possible.
And schools have resumed regular classes following the return of public transportation in the corporate area. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information says the decision to restart classes follows discussions with the police and schools. Parents and guardians, as well as school administrators, are being urged to monitor the media for any development which may impact classes or their children's safety. While the ministry continues to monitor the situation, parents are being asked to reinforce the need for their children to pay attention to their immediate surroundings at all times. In other news, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has called on the international community to build on Mahatma Gandhi's legacy of advocating for the poor and being a catalyst for positive change. Mr. Holness made the call Tuesday as he addressed a special event honoring the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi during the United Nations General Assembly. The Leadership Matters function contemplated the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy in the contemporary world. Prime Minister Holness says Gandhi's leadership and unflinching determination is a testimony of his vision for a kinder world.
Gandhi's doctrine of nonviolence and sacrifice, together with his vision for a more equitable world, is a source of personal inspiration to my own leadership, and I know that his life's work will continue to inspire new generations to come. Leaders who are committed to the well-being and advancement of all our peoples.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
How you run go?
Go me there, I work for the fitness, man. No, the fitness, I'm a care fitness, man. I'm paying a tax officer.
Oh. But you don't have to run, man.
Oh, respect.
No, man. I mean, you don't have to go in there, man. You can pay vehicle fitness online.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. TJ make it easy for you now. You know, so now the excuse.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Respect, man. Hey, you still have to work on your fitness doing now.
I'm going to deal with it online.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Government is not only concerned about putting in road infrastructure, safety is also a major priority. Watch this.
Over the past 5 years, more than 120 children have lost their lives on our nation's road. In addition to this, countless children continue to suffer from injuries that are directly related to traffic crashes within 100 meters of school zones over the past decade.
But steps are being taken right here in Jamaica to change that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. At the Azar Primary School we go. And using the pedestrian crossing is what we know. It's no show. Walking in a row is a good flow. But using the cell phone on the road is a big no-no. Using the sidewalk is a great start. It will prevent shattered body parts.
Hazard Primary School is the first of 18 schools selected under the X Marks the Spot School Crosswalk campaign. And this is a collaboration with UNICEF Jamaica and FIA Foundation. And we selected Hazard Primary through our Child Road Safety Assessment research and report, which was recently published. And we've identified the vulnerabilities where children who are journeying to and from school face several challenges getting to school.
To reduce the vulnerabilities and the challenges faced by the over 600 students at this Clarendon-based school, a number of infrastructural upgrades were carried out.
The Hazard Primary School was selected for this infrastructural upgrade, which includes a pedestrian crossing, bus lay-by, and the sidewalks to ensure the safety of the children attending this school. As it is now, they're already practicing, learning to use the walkways and the crossing, and the wardens are there to sort of let them cross the street. And I mean, overall, it's going to ensure that the children are a little bit safer.
When the cars are bringing the students to school, they normally come over on the sidewalk where we are supposed to walk. So now we have the sidewalk that we can walk on, that they cannot come over on the sidewalk and kind of hurt us or anything.
And that's not all. The school will get a facelift with beautiful artistic designs done by student volunteers from the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts.
We approached Edna Manley because we wanted to bring a little excitement to the project, so we thought art is a good way to spread messages. It translates well on social media because it gives us good visuals. We didn't want to take stock images, we wanted young people's ideas, and so we approached the school and they said sure they would be interested, and so they came up with these designs. These are their designs and the designs that will go on the sidewalk leading to the crosswalk. So they were interested, they came up with their designs and they're here painting away, and they will be working with us on all of the schools as we go forward.
To conclude phase 1 of the project, 2 other schools will receive similar road infrastructural improvements, and before you know it, it will be time for phase 2.
Over the next 3 years, we will be carrying out this work in 15 other schools on a phase 2 of X Marks the Spot.
The projects cost approximately $1 million and was made possible by a number of sponsors.
I just want to say thanks to Jane Foundation and UNICEF for their effort and the support and seeing the importance of having this crossing section at the school gate that I know will benefit the students tremendously.
When parents are assured that their children will get to school safely, they will be more contented, and the children themselves will be happier knowing that they'll be safe.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
We're shifting gears now. Take a look at the genesis of the bauxite mining sector on the island.
Bauxite has been a stallion in the economic development of Jamaica from 1952, when the country made its first shipment of the product. Pulled from the womb of our earth, labeled as the rich red soil, though closely resembling a burnt orange or reddish-brown color based on how your eyes see it. This precious mineral is conceived with the continuous fulfilled hope of bringing money, major investments, manpower, and however you put it, massive rewards to our island.
Bauxite is the ore from which the metal aluminum is extracted. Aluminum is a very, very important metal worldwide because of the lightweight and the fact that it doesn't corrode as easily as iron. The first shipment of bauxite was out of Ocho Rios by Reynolds Jamaica Mines in 1952. A year later, Kaiser also began exporting bauxite out of Port Kaiser in St. Elizabeth, and a number of other companies followed after that. Alcan set up their refinery at Kirkvine and were shipping bauxite out of Port Esquivel by 1954. Then the Alcoa plant at Halsall, and the last refinery to be built was Nain, Alpart, refinery at Nain.
It was the beginning of the viable mining of the ore, and history tells us how its development filled the coffers of our small island home. Or did it?
Jamaica has been an important player in the bauxite industry since the 1950s. We were actually originally the largest producer. The important role of bauxite in our economy is the revenue that the country has earned over the years from the bauxite industry. Provide employment, we upgrade the work skills of our people so that we now have a lot of skilled workers in the bauxite industry. And there's a trickle-down effect on the economy because the more employment there is, the more spending power people have. In the 70s, the government began to play a more active role in the bauxite industry. So they began to acquire a piece of the action for the nation's benefit. And a levy was imposed in 1974 from which we benefited financially from production of bauxite. The government began to buy shares into some of these companies. Even though they were not the managing partners, we began to acquire a piece of the action for ourselves. The levy just allowed us to have a bigger piece of the pie.
And while the production of the mineral was still booming, by 1974, the country had taken a small step back to become the second largest producer of bauxite in the world, just behind Australia.
So Australia overtook us just by virtue of scale. It's a huge country with a lot of reserves and good quality reserves, easy to mine. In terms of production, we are ranked 6th in the world now, behind Australia, China, Brazil, India, and Guinea. So our production is in the region of about 10 million tons per year, and we are comparing to Australia that's producing in excess of 80 million tons. We have some challenges that these other countries don't have. For example, we are always mining in populated areas. So our industry has to always be mindful of the local communities and find ways to work with them in order to continue producing bauxite.
But despite that, the commercial mining of bauxite continues to be one of the most important contributors to the economic development of Jamaica, accounting for about 10% of gross domestic product, GDP. In addition to that, the industry represents one of the largest gross earners of foreign exchange for Jamaica.
As long as human beings require resources, they will try to extract it wherever they can. The consumption of aluminum is going up. So I see as long as we have reserves available here, I expect that mining will continue. For at least the next 30 to 40 years, we should have enough reserves to continue at our present capacity.
What we are doing is creating a project which will be looking at road development, yes, but water and wastewater along with the road development, drainage, bridges, transportation, and ICT. And I want to spend a little time on transportation because included in the greater infrastructure development program will be consideration for light rail to connect Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, and other urban areas that have substantial commuter traffic. So all of that is being planned out now for the next phase of infrastructure development in Jamaica. We're going to be looking in this greater infrastructure development program at the proposal for a ring road around the Kingston metropolitan area. We're going to look at the extension of the Mandela Highway improvement works from the east-west toll road to the Old Harbour roundabout. We're going to be looking at improving Halfway Tree. We're going to be doing the construction of several bypasses. Bypasses are important because it's not just the road, it is also a program of making our small urban towns more functional. When you drive through them, there's so many things going on. The town is growing, but its very growth is killing the town. So you have to, in addition to doing the bypass of the town, you have to do work inside the town. So it's a dual program. It's bypass and it's rural township development. We're looking at the Lucy bypass in Hanover. We're looking at the Hopewell bypass. We're looking at the Anato Bay bypass in St. Mary. We have already spoken about Long Hill and the Anchovy bypass in St. James. We're looking at the Port Maria bypass. We haven't put it here, but we are also looking at the spur tree. Then, Mr. Speaker, we're looking at drainage. So we are going to do it in a climate smart way. We're going to do it according to our master plan for drainage, which was completed a few years ago. And that now has instructed us that we have to do drainage works on Marcus Garvey Drive, Maxfield Avenue in the corporate area, just to name two, Maypen, Santa Cruz, Port Maria, and Montego Bay. So that's how we're putting together the plan. This will be the year of unveiling, or rather, the year we roll out the carpet.
Come down. Well, this is a real business?
I should think so. You don't see them dressed nice.
Could be well-dressed criminals. Let me see, because you can check for a registered business on COJ website. You know that, right?
We can check online?
Yeah, man, things up now. You can check for a registered business on the Companies Office of Jamaica website. So many know things.
Yes.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Drones, more formally known as unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or unmanned aircrafts, are used by many persons for various purposes. In recent years, there has been an increase in drone ownership and use in Jamaica, prompting strict regulations by the authorities. Commercial drone users are required to get a special aerial work permit from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA, each time a drone or other unmanned power-driven aircraft that flies without a human operator on board is to be used. This is important in order to address issues of aviation safety and security, as well as national security and privacy. Operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven aircrafts must apply in writing to the JCAA, and the applicant must provide all details of the intended flight. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority mandates that drone users must not fly these devices at a height exceeding 400 feet or 122 meters above ground level. Also, recreational users must not go beyond the maximum range of 1,640 feet or 500 meters, or within 500 feet or 152 meters of an organized open-air assembly of people. Nor should these drones or UAVs be flown over or within 165 feet or 50 meters of any person. The guidelines also demand that persons not operate these aerial devices over a private or public property or dwelling without prior permission. Unmanned aerial devices should also not be operated at nights or during low visibility conditions. Persons are not to use drones or unmanned aerial vehicles to drop or discharge any item to the ground. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority's guidelines stipulate restricted and prohibited airspace where drones and other UAVs are either restricted or must not fly. In the restricted zones, drones are not allowed to take off unless a permit is obtained from the JCAA. Prohibited airspaces are designated where no flights by these devices are allowed. Some of the prohibited areas include Jamaica House, King's House, the Police Commissioner's Office, Jamaica Defence Force Up Park Camp, and the Petrojam Refinery. Restricted zones include flight training areas assigned to flight schools and the JDF Air Wing, Newcastle Training Base, and other JDF facilities across the island. There is a 5-kilometer or 3.1-mile radii no-fly zone for drones around aerodromes, as well as Norman Manley Sangsters and Ian Fleming International Airports. The policy in Jamaica is similar to industry practices in North America and the United Kingdom, where permission from the managers of the aerodromes and restricted or prohibited airspaces are sought prior to the issuance of a permit. So, for drone operation at or near aerodromes, communication is made with air traffic control, which will dictate flight times, which is included in the permit to the drone operator. All drone flights in prohibited and restricted airspaces will require a notice to airmen or NOTAM. The NOTAM is prepared by the JCAA and issued to the aviation industry in advance of the date the drone will operate, that is, 3 to 4 days lead time. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority demands that UAV users cease operation of these devices once a safety hazard is apparent and should not resume operation until the risk is resolved. All incidents that occur while using these aerial devices must be reported to the authority in order for the cause to be determined and for corrective measures to be implemented. The JCAA inspectors and law enforcement officers have the authority to intervene at any time. So, operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven devices are encouraged to heed the regulations or face the penalty if the matter is brought before the court.
The ongoing roadworks continue to help make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and of course, travel in comfort. But with use comes responsibility.
You know, ideally, we would not want to have traffic using any of the road until we have completed most of the items or all of the items that we have set ourselves in the bill of quantities. But in a situation like this, no ideal really exists. It is out of necessity and being practical why we have allowed traffic to be using this corridor. Whilst persons are using the road, we would want them to do so with extreme caution, recognizing that there are still items that are outstanding.
That's all the time we have for you on today's show, but if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or YouTube channel. Don't forget to keep up with us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. And remember to always help make Jamaica a better place in whatever way you can. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Sandra Clark. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
The ICAJ hosts their annual business conference here at the Jamaica Pegasus under the theme Megatrends 3.0, Changing Times, Changing Strategies. I'm your host, Mita Prasad Webb. Please stay tuned for highlights.
The world is changing. We're talking about this everywhere I go. The pace of change is unprecedented. And so, yes, I know we're accountants, but our acumen on technology, we're going to have to beef it up. We're going to have to know about big data, cloud, cybersecurity, virtual reality. This is not an environment of tomorrow where you can say, well, I'm just a numbers person. Those days are over. And so today, what we're talking about is that technology makes things a little more seamless. So we always talk about what happened with Blockbuster. We talk about what happened with Kodak. These are case studies that'll be around for years and years. But unfortunately, there are some iconic companies that will be case studies as well. It'll be Radio Shack, might be Yahoo, it might be Toys R Us, it might be Borders. There are companies that I grew up with that I thought would always be here, and yet they're gone. So the question is, will you be here in 3 to 5 years? Will your company be here in 3 to 5 years? And what are you doing about it today to make sure that you will be? So when we talk about the world, I meet people who will say, well, Kimberly, I'm just here in my bubble. No one's going to touch it here. Guess what? I was here before I was here. I've been communicating with your team at the Institute of Chartered Jamaican Accountants for probably close to 6 to 7 months. And so if that is the case, that means that just me not physically being here isn't something you're just like, oh, she's not here, I shouldn't be worried. You should be worried because technology means we're only one click away. And so as Jamaica grows and the economy grows, what you don't want is for companies to bring in other accountants. Because you are the supply, you are the experts, you are the professionals. When they're looking for someone to build a new practice area or to lead a new division, they should be here with the Jamaican accountants. It shouldn't be, oh, we got to pull someone else from the U.S. or another island or here or there. Now, that could be what they want to do, but they shouldn't have to do. And so when we talk about change and what does that mean, there's good news and bad news. The good news is, as a profession, we're purposeful, we're data-driven, we don't like ambiguity. We're really good at giving you answers. We're organized. We like checklists because most of us prefer to go down checklists. We're compliant. We make sure we're following the rules. We're rule followers. We're all of those things. And no matter where I go, there are some things about us that are the same no matter where I go. And that's the good news. The bad news is that we're purposeful. We're data-driven. We don't like uncertainty. Because in a time where you have to be innovative, in a time where you need ideas that are so out there that someone says, that'll never work. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the ideas that people would say would never work. Because what I know is this, surely they told Larry Ellison that. Surely they probably told Bill Gates that. Surely they told Mark Zuckerberg that. Surely they told any one of the leaders who are here today and are billionaires, they said that'll never work. That's the innovation that we have to open up our minds and hearts to. And that's what we have to recognize in the megatrend environment of changing times. Recognizing that what we do and how we do it has to evolve and change. So we've got some trends. And I'll just give a couple of things that I do to stay abreast of everything. And I know it's hard because you're like, Kimberly, it's so much. I've got kids, I've got work, I've got elderly care, parents, that, elder care I need to do. I get it. It is busy. But somehow you've got to figure out how to source the information when you need it. Now, for me, I have a lot of different data sources. I've got FASB alerts, SEC, the Journal of Accountancy, the Maryland Statement. I've got the Fortune, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, all of these different alerts coming into my phone and into my email so that I'll know what's going on in the business world around me. Because you can't ask really good questions. You can't manage risk if you're isolated. That's why understanding the trends around you are so important, because you're going to miss something if you don't pay attention. And so, yes, you've got to pay attention to Brexit. You've got to pay attention to what's going on in Venezuela and geopolitical instability. Your companies could be multinational, and there's opportunities for you to go and work in different offices. Yes, you have to pay attention to what's going on in the financial world as it relates to who's able to pay their bills and who's going to bankrupt on their obligations, and who, with the tariffs that are currently, that argument that's going back and forth. You have to have enough awareness to know where to go. You don't have to memorize it, but you do need to say, when I need it, where can I go find it? Get that source in your environment. And then from a regulatory complexity perspective, the regulations are changing. There's an opportunity for you to add feedback. I'm sure the Institute would, lobby a position on your behalf if they knew that there was a position. You have to be active participants in the environment that we're in. And I know in Maryland, they'll ask us to write letters. They'll ask us to show up. Hopefully you're showing up and you're participating in your own environment and being an advocate for the profession. And then, of course, the two areas I left were technology and workforce changes. From a technology perspective, we know that in today's world, we've got the Internet of Things. We've got refrigerators that can call out for soda. When you walk in a grocery store, your phone starts beeping with aisle 9, aisle 10. We know that when I grew up, it was the Jetsons, and having a robot in your home was like a thing of unbelievable. It just wouldn't happen. And yet, if I say the wrong word, Google is like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. And isn't that nerve-wracking a little bit, right? That they would even wake up to know that you said some word. The world is changing. And so even as we talk about workforce changes, a lot of those workforce changes are coming from our generational differences. Our Zs, born typically in the late 1990s and the 2000s, and our millennial colleagues born in 1980 to about late 90s, they don't want to work the same way that Gen X. I'm a Gen X. And they don't want to work the same way. And I get that. The quality of life, you want to have the ability to have the summer, you want to live, you want to see the world. But you know what? There's no fun without finance. Because how many of you have ever been on a vacation without any money? There is no fun in that. So you need a great job to fund your habits. Our young people can mentor us, our young colleagues. They deserve their seat at the table. Yet at the same time, people who are boomers and traditionalists, they also have context and wisdom. There is a compromise and meeting of the minds. And I'm so delighted that I get to talk about what that means. And so technology is everywhere. And a lot of times, boomers mostly, and some traditionalists, they're in denial sometimes. So if you're in those categories, they say, well, Kimberly, this too shall pass. Well, I don't think social media is going to pass. I mean, I get it, and I say this everywhere I go because I'm going to own it. When Facebook came out, I was years before I actually had a Facebook page because I was like, who wants to see me at the sunset? Who cares what I had for dinner? I mean, I was just like, does it even matter? And those famous last words, I wouldn't be working now if I'd gotten the stock what I should have. So I say that to say Let's not ignore this by thinking this is going to pass, because it's not. Especially when you see in the manufacturing environments. That was before automation. This is after automation. Now, it might not be your job function, but if you're doing anything that a machine can do, over time, your companies may make tough decisions about who does that work. Okay? So that is, it doesn't have to be scary if you're prepared. So we all need to bring our A game and pay attention to the mega trends because it's important. We know that technology is driving transformation. If you were able to go into your environment and save money, figure out how to create and drive revenue, enable transformation, imagine how much more valuable you would be. Imagine how well positioned you would be if they were making tough choices.
What are the key points of your presentation this morning?
So the key points of my presentation are that we have to continually evolve and change, and looking at the trends will help us be in a better position.
Is this your first time here at the Chartered Accountants Conference?
Yes! This is amazing. The energy, the enthusiasm. I walked into this room and immediately felt energized, like caffeine. So I'm really excited to be here.
How would you say conferences of this nature benefit the industry?
So conferences like this, and what I really want to call out is that the president talked about doing a conference that wasn't about technical themes. So this conference that talks about other things that make us well-rounded, that give us perspective, that help us grow and learn, I think are amazing, because this is exactly what we need to know. We need to know what's going on in the world around us, and we need to discuss how those help us in our day-to-day jobs and how we may need to change our strategies.
Talk to us about the theme of your presentation, changing times, changing strategies.
So I really followed the conference theme, and I really wanted it to be informative. I wanted it to be a call to action. I wanted to talk about what every person in this room could do to be intentional and to be accountable. And so changing times just speaks to how technology is changing everything, and we need to change our strategies. So I think they're related, and I'm excited about that.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I think that we are all capable easily of doing what we need. When we talk about inspirational, motivational, hard work, persistence, high integrity, ethics, that's the very definition of the Institute of Chartered Jamaican Accountants. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future.
Have you evaluated your audit services recently? If not, we encourage you to do so. We would like to introduce you to Doggin Global Audit Services. Doggin Global employs risk-based auditing as one of their audit approaches. Risk-based auditing, in its simplest form, is a relatively new way of independently and objectively obtaining evidence regarding assertions about a process for the purpose of forming an opinion about the process and subsequently reporting on the degree to which the assertions are implemented. Our auditors literally start the audit process by equipping themselves with knowledge of the nature of the business of the entity and its business environment. Auditors arm themselves with sufficient information about a business and its environment so as to assess risk before making a decision of either performing a compliance test or a substantive test. Risk-based audit approach or process. Doggin Global risk-based auditing comprises of 5 broad stages. The most important facets of those stages are information gathering and planning stage, mastery of internal control stage, compliance test stage, substantive test stage, conclusion and production of report stage. Why risk-based audits? The fact that risk-based auditing encourages auditors to have integrated knowledge of businesses makes the whole process of auditing less daunting as it used to be. By understanding the fundamentals of the business models of a company, auditors can easily identify and categorize risk, which will in turn help better determine the risk model or approach that would be most suitable for the audit. Other benefits of following the risk-based approach of auditing are better understanding of business and its environment, increased chance of achieving audit objective, saves resources, makes audit planning easier, Technology is only one component of an integrated approach that combines methodology, knowledge, and technology into our tailored service to you. We deliver our external audit services using a fully automated audit software. This software is designed specifically to integrate knowledge management into the audit process. If you're interested to get the advantages of risk-based audit approach, please contact us for a free quote. Email info@doggin.global.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
If you look at the major economies of the world, so we looked at about 46 or 50 of the major economies, and we said, okay, are they seeing growth or not? And that chart tells you what percentage of those economies is seeing positive growth. And so what you've seen is, this is the first time, going back 10 years, that so many countries around the world, including here in Jamaica, by the way, are seeing strong growth. So it's a good thing, right? We've got, not only do we have strong economic growth globally, it's also synchronized. And that's generally a good thing because you want all countries to be sort of, you want a rising tide that lifts all the boats. The evidence from tariffs is that you end up supporting unproductive companies making horrible products at very high prices. I'm also a Gen Xer, as Kimberly is. I grew up in India. I can testify to crappy products at high prices made by horrible companies that shouldn't have existed, right? And so I'm sure there's folks in this room who can understand that as well. On the business side, we have companies coming in saying, oh, come on, I saw all this big global growth, there was tax reform, I was going to make all these waves of investments to capitalize, now you're telling me my supply chains are going to get messed up. So most companies are sort of in wait-and-see mode now. There's also a bunch of firms that are saying, you know what, I'm going to try to find local substitutes, and are coming to us and saying, I can't find them. I can't find local substitutes. So what am I going to do, right? Now, that's the broad evidence. Personally, I'm actually not sure what's going to happen. If that's what's going to happen, or if we might actually see some benefit, because there are examples, the little thing on the blue, which is hard to read, there are examples where tariffs have worked. Many Asian economies where companies have been protected for a while, as long as there is competition and as long as there's a push for productivity and investment, you actually do see the tariffs sometimes do work. So that gets us to why all of this is happening, which I think is useful for people to understand, certainly from the US perspective. What happens to the exchange rate? So the theory, the economic theory would tell you that all these tariffs at the end of the day are not going to make a difference because the currency will adjust and imports will become cheaper, exports will become more expensive, and you'll end up with a trade deficit again. You might see, a reallocation. So maybe there won't be as much metals imports, but there'll be some other imports, right? And so overall, the trade deficit will remain the same. That's quite possible. One thing that we've seen is when you look at the US dollar against a bunch of its trading partners, one of the reasons we think that the supply chain has gotten hollowed out is because the exchange rate, this is a chart of the US dollar against a bunch of currencies. The US dollar appreciated in the late 90s And that is coincident with this sort of decline as a domestic supply chain. A lot of people call out attention to China, but it's not just China, it's the appreciation of the dollar. And what we've seen is that the dollar has stayed at a high value against some of these trading partners since then. So against the Japanese, against the Koreans, you've seen that the dollar has stayed high. And so it is entirely possible that the dollar might adjust, which means that we may end up in a situation back in the 1980s, which again has implications for trade. Now, any of you might remember your history. In the early 1980s with the Reagan administration, we went through something similar to what we're going through now, right? Voluntary restraints on imports, tariffs on a bunch of imports. The target then was Japan and Europe. Now it's China. It didn't work. It didn't work because the exchange rate appreciated and the deficit stayed. And so we ended up with what's called the Plaza Accords of 1985, which was a devaluation of the US dollar, effectively. Some of those people who were involved in those negotiations back in the 1980s are in the administration today. So you might see, I personally would be watching for that to see what happens to the exchange rate. But I am here to tell you, as I tell most of the companies that we work with, if you are holding your breath expecting that all this tariff noise will go away, you should probably start breathing. We have a very resilient global economy, strong, sustained growth for several years, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, but you're starting to see this concern. And one of the concerns, the most important concern that we're seeing from businesses is what is happening with all this trade and geopolitical uncertainty. And what is happening is the fact that there is an escalation, no question, and the escalation is happening under trade auspices that give the administration in the US a lot of authority and a lot of leeway to change practices. And if you look at the words that are coming out of the administration, you will see consistent language about this. Most of that is geared towards the third point, that is to turn around 20 years of a decline in the US supply chain and try to make things better there through more domestic sourcing, through more investment, and through more protectionist policies. And is that going to work? Is anybody's guess? The empirical evidence is not strong. But then we've also not had this kind of a situation where you've got an administration saying, we're going to try to do this.
Give us some feedback on your presentation today.
Well, I think, we wanted to make the point about what's going on with the broader global economy, issues around trade and tariffs, which I know are on top of mind for most people. They are concerned about what they're seeing coming out of the US. And so we wanted to make sure that we kind of covered some of those issues. I think the main point that I wanted to make was that we are in slightly a different environment where you do have a lot of global growth going on. It's been 10 years since the global economy has been in this situation where there's been such strong growth. And so having these trade issues, these tariffs issues are a little bit of a cloud that a lot of business executives have been telling us are certainly concerns for us, and so that's why we've been developing a perspective on that.
Speak to some of the trends in your field and how they help or harm our local trade.
Well, I think there's a couple of trends that I'd probably call out. One is the fact that even though you've had very strong global growth, it hasn't translated to the kind of global trade and investment flows that we got used to at least last decade. So 10 years ago, we were in a strong period of global growth, and there was a lot of global trade, there was a lot of global investment, cross-border flows of services and goods. This time, it's still strong growth, but there's not commensurate growth in trade and investment. And so one of the things that we've been trying to figure out is why that's happening. And then certainly now that you've seen more action on tariffs coming from the US administration, that's also acting as a dampener on further growth of trade and investment. So I think one of the big things that we're seeing is the fact that most people have been wondering whether the tariffs are really going to, are they going to stick around? Do just wait it out? And one of the points we've been trying to make is to understand why the tariffs are coming by looking at issues around the domestic supply chain, particularly in some of these advanced industries, where what we've seen is that over the last 20 years or so, the majority of the growth that the American manufacturing sector has seen has not been shared by small and mid-sized companies in the domestic supply chain. All of that growth has gone to the largest companies. And the smaller and mid-sized firms in the domestic supply chain, by and large, have seen negative growth rates. You've seen companies or establishments shutting down. And that matters because the majority of workers, the majority of investment is in that supply chain. And so when the supply chain doesn't see strong growth, it has a knock-on effect on things like wage growth or investment growth or technology readiness or productivity growth, right? And so that's really what we're seeing, or what we're looking for is when you have this new kind of environment around tariffs, is that combined with things like tax reform, is that actually going to see, are you actually going to see a wave of investment coming into the supply chain? That's what we're looking for.
Talk to us about what's unique about the design of this conference.
This conference is geared towards getting persons prepared for the change that is happening, the disruption that is happening in the world today, and for our leaders to understand the change and what it means for them. And that's what's unique about it. In fact, that we are focusing on it. It's not really a numbers crunching IFRS conference. It's really a true business conference where we can focus on other things outside of accounting.
What were some expectations that you had of this conference?
First of all, I expected to have a very high level of participation from our members and from the business community. I expect that our presenters would deliver on the topics that were selected for them in accordance with the objectives of the ICAJ. And so far, we are very pleased that we are meeting those objectives. It's changing time, changing strategies, and we really like to impart knowledge to our membership and to the business community, so I think that expectation is paramount.
More from the ICAJ Business Conference when we return.
Management Accounting Services. Keeping track of business performance is the key to driving future business performance. Having sound, up-to-date, and regular financial reports will ensure you are making well-informed business decisions in relation to matters such as capital expenditure, cost reductions, where future sales growth needs monitoring or driving, under or well-performing staff, or when is the right time to take on new staff. Dodge & Global can help you to prepare interim financial reports and therefore better advise you as to your future tax payments to prevent any surprises at year-end and to smooth out your tax obligations, saving you money. We will have discussions with you regarding the results of these reports and make sure you are aware of any pitfalls or areas that need your attention on a more regular basis. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global, website https://dodgen.global.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
If you are just joining us, Business Access TV is here at the Jamaica Pegasus for the ICAJ Annual Business Conference.
Let's talk about encryption for a little bit. Encryption today is not what it used to be. Encryption today is actually very, very simple. I mean, you can do it on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablets, with just a couple of clicks. So by all means, encrypt the data that you consider sensitive. It's very easy to do, and it's a very, very effective way to achieve data security. if an app that you're looking at or looking at installing, if it seems too good to be true, chances are it really is too good to be true. I mean, this one app is not going to change the world with just a couple of clicks. That's not impossible. You want to ensure that only the applications that you have on your devices are the applications that are necessary for the execution of your function, of your job function. So don't have things that are installed on there that, you know, is just on there just because it looks kind of cool. It's nice to have that sort of stuff. Many times those apps, especially the ones that seem too good to be true, all they are backdoors for stealing your data. Email is the most widely used tool to compromise data security. It's a low-hanging fruit. The truth is, hackers by nature are actually very lazy people that really don't have to work hard for what it is that they're getting. So if they can do something, if they can send out 1 million emails with malicious content or malicious link, all they're really interested in is that 100 people click on it. They're not really interested that 1 million people have actually clicked on it. And really and truly is, as a hacker, they actually don't want to be in your environment, because if they're in your environment, then the likelihood of getting caught increases. So if they can do it remotely, it's much better for them. And they do that by email, by sending an email with a compromised link or a compromised attachment. So always think before you click on any form of attachments that with any email at all. I'll actually take a step back and say to you, think before you even open the email. Because I've seen situations today where the email will come with an attachment, but the attachment is a self-executing attachment. So once you click on the email itself, the attachment executes in the background, steals your data. I know there's a practice that, you know, especially for people who use Outlook, to have the preview pane of the email up and running, because it makes life easier. It is, because you can quickly glance at the preview pane and say, all right, this is what it's about, and you can make a decision about whether to act or not to act. I'd actually recommend that you turn it off, because those self-executing emails actually run once the preview pane comes up. Another thing that you want to do is you want to keep your systems up to date. You want to ensure that the applications that are running on your devices, whether it's your phone, your tablet, or your computer, are up to date. Nearly all the time a vendor releases an update, it's nearly always to fix a security hole. Oftentimes, it's, you know, a small portion of the time is for functionality. If they're going to release functionality, they actually release a new version of the application. But once they publish an update for the application, nearly all the time, it is a security-related hole that they're trying to fix. There are so many vulnerabilities that exist today with so many applications that, you know, you have to, as soon as a newer version comes out, you want to ensure that you keep your system up to date and install the latest versions of software. It's often you have applications or you have data on your devices, and the usage of that data is just, you know, you have it just because. No, don't keep data on your machine just because you need to have it on there. Because it becomes unused over time, it becomes old and you forget about it, and then the next time you remember about it is when you're in the headlines because, you know, suddenly company data is out there, your machine was compromised, and you remember, oh, I had this folder on my machine. One of the things that we recommend is that once you're done, you set expiration on the data sets that you're using. So once you're done with something, after the reasonable reporting period has passed, move it, archive it into a secure location, an offsite storage or something like that. Now, backup is often not associated with security. It's often associated with other components of IT. But backup is actually a very important component in security. If we think back to the security triad, backup is affected by the availability component of that triad. Now, think of if, for argument's sake, you've suffered a compromise of any kind, and your data, you know, becomes corrupt or lost or anything like that. The absence of a functioning or a proper backup means that the data is no longer available. It means that the system is no longer available. It means that the application is no longer available. And you have failed the availability component of the triad, and therefore you have failed data security. So it's very important to have verifiable backups. Don't just back up your data and say, all right, fine, I'll copy these files over to this folder, I'll run the backup process in this application, and it has copied the file and stored them in a location, in a secure location. Always verify them. We've seen an example where we were called in to investigate a compromise, and the compromise was so bad that we said to the customer, look, give me a backup set, let's start to recover from the backup set. And they diligently showed us the log of their backups. You know, the backup happened every night. You know, the technician checked it off that it was backed up and so on. But when we went to the backup, the backup was actually compromised as well. So they're ticking it off that it's being backed up, but nobody is checking to say, is this backup a backup of the compromised data? It just so happens that it was backup of the compromised data, but the backup runs and it says it's completed successfully, and they tick the box. Yes, we've backed up our data. One of the things that I'd recommend here also is that security awareness training, one of the things that we try to do is we try to connect it personally. I know a lot of times, people are doing their jobs and they kind of abstract their work life from their personal life. So one of the things that we do is we try to connect security and data security in particular to your own personal situation. So we'll talk about things like, consider things like how would a compromise of your bank accounts affect you personally, right? And think about all the emotions and everything that goes with that. You can't pay a mortgage and all of that sort of stuff. Think about what will happen if that exact same compromise would happen in the company's bank accounts. People can't get paid, suppliers can't get paid, and that sort of stuff. So one of the things I do, if you try to connect it on a personal level, and you see the gravity or the impact of the situation personally, then it's easier to translate that into business. Achieving data security is not a line in the sand that you draw and you say, boy, all right, I've done all of these things, so my data is now secure. It's a continual process. You have to keep assessing. You have to keep looking at your data needs, your data assets, and saying, all right, is the risk that we face today the same tomorrow? And you have to continually improve. It's a process of continual improvement. I think in security, in the security circles, we have a common thought that there are really just two types of businesses in the world. Those who have been hacked and those who don't know they've been hacked. And that's a reality. It takes about, the average security incident takes about 30 days to be discovered. And for companies that their pockets are, they're deep and they're invested in it, it maybe take another 180 days to recover from it. So it could be up to a year in many instances that you don't even know that you've been compromised. Many businesses don't ever recover from a compromise. So to achieve data security, do something. There are many things on the list that are simple to do. They are low-hanging fruits. Just do them. Because doing something is much better than doing nothing and assuming that you've never had a compromise.
The way the technology is going now, it's not even a race for relevance, it's a race for survival. Because if you're not with it, you're going to die, right? In fact, you have to be savvy. So I was tempted to come up here with paper, but I make sure I come with the iPhone. Because if you go anywhere you're presenting now from paper, you're not cutting it. So sometimes you don't have anything on the phone and you carry it up here, so, right? And some people do it, you know that? Yeah, man, them walk up with the phone and yes, and moving and touching on the phone, right? But it's the look, right? And it's the image. And we're going to talk about the image because we really have to change it. Because obviously, technology affords us to do things cheaper, more efficient, all of the above in terms of that. So there are some opportunities there for us finance people. So what's the imperative of our finance professional? First of all, we have to apprise ourselves with the technology that's available across. Right? We're going to discuss some of them, but what I'm saying is that whatever we can do in this small window cannot replace the plethora of different applications that are out there. So as a finance professional within your industry, you have to be researching, talking to IT, looking overseas to ensure that you're aware of what is out there. Companies are going through rapid technological change. It's emotionally charged. Every day you hear that there's a list coming out, and you wonder if you're named upon the list. Nobody understand what I'm talking about? It's reality, right? So when we're doing technological changes, right, it calls for proper leadership. And it can happen in many ways. You can even get sabotaged. Because if you don't treat people well, they can sabotage you in the transformation process. So this managing of the organizational impact is key. And I would recommend that if it is major enough, get what we call change management help. Right? You may need people who are adept at change management to guide you through this process. Focus on talent and skills, very critical. The skills that we needed yesterday and the talent are not necessarily what we need today and going forward. And that's one of the challenges that we have. Some tough decisions may have to be taken, and we may have to redeploy people. But you have to make sure that we have the right talent and skill to take their organization forward based on the new technologies that we are applying. Cashier-free store, real. Amazon has this. You have an Amazon card, you just walk into the store, you swipe, go in, take what you want, leave, and the process send the bill to you. Nobody's involved. Understand that implications for that. In fact, a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was in Israel and on a tour. And in there you can do the Israel tour. It's a very good tour. But we stopped at a gas station with the tour guide and put the nozzle in his tank, full up, drove out. Asked him, nobody was involved. He explained to me that the nozzle has a microchip, and so does the car tank. The amount of gas that he's taking is recorded, transmitted by a bill to his company from the gas station. Nobody involved. Right? So I saw that, and it wasn't even last year, this is over 2 years ago. This is a sign of where we are and where we are going. So I'm just putting these things up there. And if you want to research it, fine. But I'm just trying to tell you, because we used to talk about the future. The Heptones have a song that said, the future is here, my dear. Because the future is here. So all of what we're talking about, we used to talk about their emerging technologies. Nah, the technology is here. We have to be very cognizant of social media. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm on all of them. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of them. Because we have communicated and keeping in touch with your team members, knowing what they're doing, your children, your niece and nephew and all of that, this social media thing. So I'm saying to us as chartered accountants, don't have any phobia about it. Get with the program. So our job is not to be fearful of what is happening. Our job is to adapt to the change and make sure that we can perform as professionals under the new systems. Right? Our brain, Tavi. In fact, let's say a man's brain, it start work from in his mother's womb and don't stop work at all right until adulthood. When a man's brain stop work, when his wife asks him, where were you last night, honey? That's the only time a man's brain stop work. Right? But seriously, the computers cannot really replace us. But they will make us redundant if we don't adapt to change. So in summary, as I said before, I didn't intend to give you a technical presentation. I really want to give you what you call a reality check to make sure that you understand that these technologies, I mean, I've been part of change process for a number of years, but never before have I seen so much coming at me in a short space of time. You understand? It's not like one time when you have a time, you don't have no room for error. It's coming, right? Rapid, rapid, rapid. And I'm saying, as accountants, we have to deal with it, grasp opportunities, make things better for ourselves and the organization, and just don't let the bus leave us. All in all, before wrapping up, the question is, are you ready? And I hope you are ready.
PwC is a sponsor here today. Talk to us about that partnership.
Yeah, but PwC, we are very happy to sponsor this conference. The Institute, we have been sponsoring it a few years now. We think it's a very important conference for accountants to maintain a relevance in a very dynamic environment. We think it's value for money to get all stakeholders on board on a conference like this, to share some very good ideas, cover some good topics. So we are always on board and we'll continue to be on board with it.
Today you are also a presenter. Speak to us about the main points of your presentation.
The topic of my presentation was professional accountants maintaining relevance in the digital age. So it's all to do with us as accountants moving with the pace of technology, because we all know technology is taking over almost everything. So we have to ensure that we take steps to make sure that we are relevant. There are opportunities, there are challenges. So my talk, my presentation covered a number of emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, cyber security, cloud computing, number of different areas. Encouraging the accountants to get on board, familiarize yourself with all these technologies to ensure that you can function properly in the digital age.
Outside of functioning properly in the digital age, what advice would you give young professionals who want to become accountants?
Well, it's a noble profession. I don't think there's a profession that gives you the wide insight into businesses as auditing and accounting. It's really broad-based. I would encourage youngsters to take a serious look at it. I think career choice is very critical. You have to look at something that you have the aptitude for, something that can pay your bills, and something that you like, because those three have to go together. So that's my advice. I'm not going to go to say everybody must turn an accountant. Do the research and make sure. But I'm telling you that's an attractive profession. It's a plethora because of activities, because you have auditors, you have forensic auditors, you have internal auditors, you have financial analysts, chief accountants. So there's a wide range in the profession that you can get into.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm pleased to be here to talk to you about T-Tech. T-Tech is the first company to be listed on the Junior Stock Exchange and as an IT firm, and we provide managed services to persons in the IT space. So if you have network servers to be managed, we will look after that for you, provide a service desk. We also help you to implement your cybersecurity program.
Why did you decide to be a sponsor here today?
Well, one, we work closely with financial members of financial profession because they tend to also supervise IT professionals, and also we recognize that the financial profession needs to understand the importance of cybersecurity.
Give us some clarity on BPOs and share some benefits.
Well, in terms of clarity,
Overall, it's an industry that's very people-centric. So it hires a lot of folks, and it also enables their growth and development. And if I were to think of some, what you'd call advantages of the industry, I would say, simply put, it creates options that are not limited by age, race, nationality, or any other factor that usually impacts corporate America. In my example, personally, I was a vice president at age 25 in a Fortune 500 company. There's not many industries that take that kind of a chance on someone who is young and who does not necessarily meet the status quo. These conferences, from a BPOX perspective, for me, the biggest advantage is there's a lot of negative perception and a lot of negative press out there about the industry. And what it does, it deters people who could really have an impact to come in and succeed. So from functions like this, my intention is always to correct those myths and to ensure that people view the industry in a positive light, because it is indeed a positive industry.
So talk to us about CPA Canada. What do you guys do?
Sure. CPA Canada, CPA, Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada. We are Canada's national accounting designation. But as much as I say Canada, we are 100% recognized globally. As such, we are affiliate members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica and recognized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of the Caribbean. Basically, if someone wants to become an accountant, they usually do a first degree, sometimes they choose to do a second. But at some point in time, they need to become a qualified accountant. Accountancy, like other professions, are highly governed, and as a result, one needs to choose a designation to qualify under. CPA Canada is one such option. It is 100% available to persons who are living in Jamaica. Fortunately, it's 2018, and there's no longer the need to actually go to Canada to earn the designation. Someone can actually sit in Jamaica, continue working, enjoy their family life, and study at the same time. This is actually our second year as a sponsor of the ICAJ conference. It's a great opportunity for us to maintain connections and ties and support our members who are based in Jamaica. So some of these persons who are present here today are actual Canadian CPAs active in Jamaica. And it's also a good touch point for the younger ones who are still undecided as to what designations they want to do. And for those who are qualified, we have a lot of certificate programs that they can now subscribe to. So it's a wonderful opportunity. I particularly like this conference because it's not just 100% accounting topics per se, which can get very technical. It's more of a business conference and really touches issues that are affecting us in the business community today.
Speak to us about the mandate of the ICAJ.
So the ICAJ is the institute that governs the accounting profession. So our members are those persons who have qualified in accountancy to earn the designation as chartered accountants. So essentially our job is to engage with those members, help manage them through their career, and to provide for new members a training of students and the coaching and mentorship of students so that they can become chartered accountants one day. So this is a business conference, and the theme is meant to be there for covering non-accounting issues, because we're trying to attract an audience other than our traditional membership. So the last 3 years, we've done the Megatrends hashtag. So that's why it's 3.0, Megatrends 3.0. The feedback has been extremely positive. I think people like the topics. I've got very positive feedback on the speakers themselves. There's good energy in the room, there's good buzz. So from that perspective, the conference has met our objectives. We have probably our largest delegate list ever, just over 300 people. There are about 50 people online. So from a total attendance, yes, it probably has checked that box. From a diversity of the persons who are attending, I think we've fallen a bit short. So we need to figure out how we bring more people into the discussion. This is not intended to be focused only on accountants. So to the extent that we wanted to see more bankers, attorneys, other professions, engineers. We have a topic coming up on the environment and disposal of plastics and how we manage plastics in our economy, what challenges and opportunities that present. That's not an accounting discussion. That's a discussion that anyone who lives and works in Jamaica should be interested in. And so diversity, I think we can improve that. From a production perspective, I think, again, this year we have done a better job than prior years. So we're continuously improving, but I think we can still take the production level up a notch. We want it to be a really high impact type of conference. So you feel as if at the moment you walk in that this is something new and different every year. So we're going to work on those two aspects in the future.
There you have it, another staging of the ICAJ Business Conference. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb, and thank you for watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel. Plus, auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transfer and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process, because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIP, that in 2 or 3 years, the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start the production line going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that are coming with just proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UE who came to be part of the panel. And just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
On this episode of Wealth Magazine Business Access, we get to hear from the president and CEO of the Victoria Mutual Group, Courtney Campbell. Taking us on a trek down memory lane, Campbell identifies how faith, discipline, and leadership were a part of his core from a young age, qualities that would later prove vital as he excelled in corporate Jamaica. Campbell also shares his plans to use his extensive experience in the industry to revolutionize the VM Group, making it even more customer-centric and competitive in the financial sector.
I'm Courtney Campbell, President and CEO of the Victoria Mutual Group. I'm a country boy. I was born in Chapelton, Clarendon, to Osmond and Carmen Campbell, two public servants. Grew up in a small family. Just my younger brother and myself with our parents over the years. Actually born on Mother's Day, I just think that's special, right? And so as the first child of my mother and being born on Mother's Day, I think is really cool. But we actually grew up in Kellits, Clarendon, North Clarendon. That's where my parents lived at the time. And childhood days were really fun. We spent holidays many times with our grandparents. My mother's father lived in Colonel's Ridge, which is North Clarendon, and my father's parents lived in Rock River, which is just about central Clarendon. They had farms, and it was really fun to be moving cattle in Rock River, for example, from one part of the pasture to the next. And, you know, we'd spend some time with our cousins there. But also, we had some really wonderful times just playing at home. My father taught me cricket in the backyard, right? And we would use some improvised equipment, right? But we had really good time. I remember roasting corn, and then some really good family fun times traveling around the island. My father was a forest officer, so he had, I think, a good career with the forestry department in the Ministry of Agriculture. He would spend lots of time in the hills of St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas, but also based in Monique, St. Anne. And he would work from there, and also in the Bullhead Mountain area of North Clarendon. So he worked all over the island, you know, helping us to preserve our forests and to ensure that the environment was protected. My mother was a postmistress, and she worked at the Mona Post Office, Watermount, Kellits, and she ended her last few years in the service were at Watermount in St. Catherine. But my brother, Alistair, spent a lot of time with our diplomatic service. It was posted in Japan at one point, and of course in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here. Eventually left that to start a publishing business on his own, so he lives with his family now in Canada, right? But we spent, for school, we attended Kellitz Primary. Right through our school life, whether it was in primary school or in high school, my parents really made some sacrifices for us. And you know, that was epitomized when we were in high school. So I attended Knox College, a boarding school, so we were boarders. And my father would leave home in Kellitz to drive to Spalding to visit us on every weekend. Take talk for us, make sure that we're okay. So I found that although we were from humble circumstances, we're civil servants, children, we ended up, you know, helping other kids who were much better off with talk, you know, food supplies, and even lending them money, right? Some very wealthy kids, because we had to be so disciplined in how we were managing the little we had. They probably weren't forced to be as disciplined. So I did first form at Clarendon College. That's where I passed the Common Entrance 4. My brother was at the junior school at Knox, Knox Junior School, and my parents wanted us to be together. And so they made outreach to the principal and the vice principal of the high school, Mrs. Jones, Barbara Jones at the time, and she arranged for me to be transferred from Clarendon College to Knox. So I started Knox in second form, what they call at Knox Class 8, and it was a really great experience being at that school. You know, today I'm so fond of Knox. I sit on the board now. What I was exposed to at the high school, I started to develop leadership skills and getting some leadership responsibilities. I was a prefect. Then you were involved in several other activities such as track and field. I started doing a little track, and of course I played cricket for the school and represented the school in one chess match. I quite enjoyed. I got a good beating, but I quite enjoyed it. And then when doing A-levels at Knox, then we did A-levels at the community college, and that was a further, you know, experience to develop leadership skills. And we're involved in the student council there, and they had a canteen that was run by the students, so I was a canteen manager. But those A-level years were wonderful, developed some great friendships. So by the time we got to UWI in 1981 is when I started, I think we were well prepared for the course of study at the time. I actually joined university, was admitted to do hotel management, believe it or not, because that's what I thought I was passionate about at the time. Initially I wanted to do the law, probably 14, 15. By the time I ended A-levels, it was hotel management. I was dead set on managing a hotel. But during my first year, got some advice that the program that UWI had at the time for hotel management, which required us to start to do 1 year here and then the other 2 years in the Bahamas, that there were some challenges with the Bahamas leg of it. And so someone who was actually there advised me to try to switch to the straight management studies degree. And so I got the transfer into straight management studies and, you know, completed those studies in 1984. But again, my UWI experience was so much more than about the academics, right? It was about involvement in student leadership and in the other extracurricular activities. So I was manager of the football team, you know, for Chancellor Hall. I was an executive of the University and Colleges Christian Fellowship, the UCCF group on campus. I was treasurer for Chancellor Hall in my second year, and then in my final year, I was a deputy hall chairman for Chancellor Hall and a guild councillor. So, you know, if you think about it, when you combine the high school years with those years at university, lots of exposure to leadership, the ability to interact with persons from different backgrounds and different experiences, and living on campus both in high school and university would have given me some wonderful opportunities to develop my interpersonal skills as well and to develop a certain independence. So I think those were wonderful years that I cherish to this day. I had this combination in my heart of loving to deal with people as well as numbers, right? So I thought banking represented the perfect combination of numbers and people every day.
Doggin Global Business Process Outsourcing. Doggin Global can help you with your day-to-day administrative and secretarial needs. We provide solutions for streamlining your accounting and bookkeeping procedures, so you can get on with running your business while knowing that all the accounting and statutory needs are being taken care of. Our BPO services include the following: bookkeeping, preparation of budgets, management accounts, and periodic financial analyses, provision of temporary or part-time accounting assistance, design and implementation of accounting systems, preparation of accounting manuals, payroll services, corporate secretarial services, assisting clients with their business entry strategy into the country, setting up new legal entities, maintaining minutes and other legal documents, non-executive directorships, preparing and submitting annual returns. For additional information, contact us at email info@doggin.global, website www.doggin.global.
I had this combination in my heart of loving to deal with people as well as numbers, right? So I thought banking represented the perfect combination of numbers and people every day, right? And so I applied to all the banks at the time, right? Just a few banks, but the commercial banks, those are the institutions that I submitted. So I was interested in manufacturing, any other service industry, just banks. And I eventually landed a job at the bursary at the University of the West Indies right after graduation. But soon after that, started getting answers now from some of the banks, in NCB at the time, and also Citibank and so on. Eventually, by February of 1985, I started my career with National Commercial Bank, and I was to be there for 23 years. I joined as a graduate trainee. That was a program they had at the time. Some called it management training, some called it graduate training. The idea was that over 18 months, you would be exposed to most of the operations in a branch, right? You wouldn't be stuck in one area for 4 or 5 years, but you'd be exposed in 8-week stints or 4-week stints of different desks in the branch. And once you were successful in that program over 18 months, you would then become a supervisor, which was a big deal at the time. Many university graduates, went on that program. Not all did well, right? And for different reasons, but I had a successful program. And so I became a supervisor at that branch, and Matilda's Corner it was. I started during that period the associateship for the Chartered Institute of Bankers, so that is called the ACIB, which really, because at UWI, they would not have gone into details of banking. It was very general. But, one piece of advice that I had received when I was being interviewed for the job is that if you really want to do banking as a career, it made sense for you to do those professional banking exams. One of the things I have always been committed to was excellence. Whatever I was doing, I was going to be very, very good at it, right? I would take home the simplest tasks when I was learning them on the counter, right? And I would practice, right? Using sample transactions, I would practice them at home, and to ensure that when I returned the following day doing the real stuff, that, it was well done and very efficiently done. And so, I remember early days when I was in the foreign exchange department doing some complex traveler's checks transactions, that, you know, one customer said, have never been served so quickly with this type of transaction. I really set high standards for myself. I was transferred from the branch into corporate division, which was unusual at the time because the corporate division was really for the cream of the crop in terms of credit analysts, so they would pull most, in fact, all of the account executive assistants from the credit department at head office. And I was, at the time, from what I can recall, the first to leave a branch and to go directly to corporate. I really threw myself into that work. And so by the time NCB in the mid-90s established an investment bank and wanted someone from their ranks to work in that small team, Mr. James, Rex James, as the managing director, asked me to do that. And it was a great privilege. So I joined together with a couple of other guys and we started what was then called National Mutual Investments. So I had moved from retail banking in a branch to corporate banking to then investment banking. And that was a time when lots of investment banking activity in Jamaica was going on, and you know, in the mid-90s. I spent 3 years there. I think we achieved some of the objectives, or most of the objectives that we had set out. So at the end of that 3-year period though, I felt that I really now wanted to be on my own. So I spoke with the head of HR at the time, Audrey Basanta Henry, and when an opportunity came up, you know, I was offered the opportunity to be the branch manager in Mandeville. And what a wonderful experience that was, right? Leading my own team there, but wonderful customers in that part of the island, and a great team. And you know, to this day, I have solid friendships that were developed in those 3 years in Mandeville. My family moved to Mandeville. We worshipped at Ridgemount United Church in Mandeville. We're really part of the community. And you know, when we returned to Kingston 2 or 3 years later, it was really a very emotionally difficult time for us, but because we thoroughly enjoyed that time. I returned to Kingston to take up the role of head of retail banking. So in 2008, I transitioned from NCB to First Global Holdings Limited, as a subsidiary of Grace Kennedy. And you know, I'd enjoyed my time at NCB. I had some wonderful colleagues, some great bosses in Patrick Hilton and Dennis Cohen. Really enjoyed working with them, and of course the chairman, Michael Leachin. But I believe that at that point of my career, I wanted something more in terms of broader responsibilities. And yes, I was leading the largest business division there, but it was at the end of the day a division of the bank. And the question is, you know, as I looked through to the rest of my career, was it going to be sufficiently fulfilling for me to be just chasing more profits each year? And I felt that I could do a little more. And so this opportunity at Grace Kennedy came up to lead the banking and investments division, First Global Holdings Limited, and you know, I was happy to take that up. I believe that at the time I thought that, you know, it's more than leading that business, just being mentored by someone like Douglas O'Rian was going to be a great opportunity as well, and so I accepted that offer and started in July 2008. I think it worked wonderfully. And, you know, so I had 8 great years there. That's another iconic Jamaican institution. So if you think about it, I've really been privileged. I've been blessed to have had exposure to executive leadership at NCB and Grace Kennedy, 2 of the iconic institutions in Jamaica. Soon after joining, that was July 2008, by February of 2009, I was asked to take responsibility for the entire financial services division. It was then called GK Investments. What we did then was to operationalize a company called GK Financial Group. And so that really was the holding company for all the financial service businesses in Grace Kennedy, you know, cutting across 12 Caribbean territories, money services business, insurance, banking, investments. And I had a seat on the board of the parent company, Grace Kennedy Limited. And I would say to you that it was a rich experience, just being exposed to world-class governance practices, decision-making in a conglomerate, capital allocation decisions. And we did, I believe, achieve a lot. There was pretty significant growth in the business over that time, and also some investments that will, bear fruit in the future. And so just, the opportunity to be involved in those was just invaluable, right? And again, building up some good relationships with some wonderful and talented, very, very talented people on the board and in the executive leadership team and right across Grace Kennedy. So the next phase of my life, so if you recall, 23 years at NCB, 1985 to 2008, then 8 years at Grace Kennedy, 2008 to 2016, right? And this great opportunity comes up at Victoria Mutual Building Society. And I'm thinking about this, through the last few months of 2015, and saying that I'm enjoying my time at GK, at Grace. I'm really learning a lot and benefiting from great working relationships with everyone there. And the question is, how do I pull away, and why should I pull away from that to do this job at Victoria Mutual? And you know why I eventually decided to? The mission of Victoria Mutual. The mission that was behind the establishment in 1878. And that mission was a noble one that I think is still relevant today, because Victoria Mutual was established for the purpose of ensuring that ordinary Jamaicans, if you recall, this was 1878, 13 years after the Morant Bay Rebellion, 40 years after the abolition of slavery, land ownership and home ownership, were distant dreams for the ordinary people at the time. And so some clergymen decided that, using the model that they had seen working in the UK, where these building societies were being established and doing reasonably well, that model was viable in Jamaica as well. So, Reverend G.W. Dowan and some other clergymen decided that they would want to establish Victoria Mutual for that purpose and to help some ordinary people to get a breakthrough by virtue of just pooling their savings, right? And, granting home loans from that. And I've always been concerned about inequality in Jamaica. I don't believe any one institution can solve that, but I believe that each institution can be a point of light, right? We need several million points of light, but let me be one point of light, right? Or let my company, let my institution be one point of light. And so that is what attracted me to Victoria Mutual. We have this ambition that, 2 or 3 years out of university, you have a stable job, we should enable you to have a mortgage to open your own doors. That's the type of ambition that we're bringing to it. Because Jamaicans are ambitious people and we want to facilitate the ambition. So that is about how we structure our mortgage products and so on, right? And how early we encourage you to start meaningful saving, right? Because that's a goal we have. Now we're committed to mutuality. And mutuality really means that the customers are also the owners of the business. That's why we call them members, right? So they're not just a customer, they're members. It's their business. And we believe that diversity of business models is good for Jamaica. It's good to have a business in the financial sector that's strong. We are the 4th largest deposit-taking institution. So, we do have a pretty decent market share, right, which we're seeking to grow. But it's good to have such a strong institution like Victoria Mutual Building Society, owned by all our customers. All of these people operating in doing business, living and working in Jamaica, and many in the diaspora, owning this business and the business being run for their benefit. I would want Victoria Mutual to, during my tenure, make a real difference in financial inclusion in Jamaica, making it possible for many more Jamaicans to meaningfully participate in the financial sector, saving, but also borrowing to acquire their own homes. I think we have to keep working at ways to make a breakthrough in that respect. I'm driven by, I think, my personal convictions. My faith is very important.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
I'm driven by, I think, my personal convictions. My faith is very important. You know, there's a verse in Colossians that speaks to whatever work you're doing, work at it with all your heart as if working for the Lord and not for men, right? So I really commit to doing everything that I'm doing with a certain degree of excellence because, you know, I believe that this too is kingdom building. I mean, I think that God works through all of us, right? In helping to make the world a better place and bringing more justice and righteousness. And I think that even in the financial sector that we can play a role in helping people to live better lives, and that drives me. Of course, I'm also driven by my family. I've been married to my wife, Pauline, for 29 years. I have a really great relationship. So she's a wonderful partner, a great support. We met at university, right? And so I see her as a great partner in this journey of life. My two sons, Adrian and Dominic, are also special. So we enjoy really good family times. And, you know, some of the things that I look forward to are just holidays as a family together. And we have had some wonderful times over the years, but not just holidays. Just going home during the week and spending time on weekends together is something that's special. I've grown a lot in terms of how to develop strategy, in terms of how to lead people, in terms of the ability to make tough decisions, right, and communicate tough, difficult decisions. So I've grown a lot in that respect. I've grown a lot in terms of how to network, in terms of how the responsibility of, you know, taking public positions, right, standing alone sometimes, unpopular positions. So I think all of those experiences have helped me to mature over the years. Over the years, I've been very involved in public service. So, well, first of all, through the church, I have served different congregations, Portmore United, Richmond United, Webster Memorial, in different roles in social outreach, in evangelism, in discipleship. I've served at the Knox College on the board of governors there. I've served as chairman of the National Education Trust, you know, and that's the arm of the Ministry of Education that's responsible for stimulating private sector investments in education. So I served as chairman of that body for 4 years, and during that time we completed the construction of several school expansions, but also a new school, Cedar Grove High School, and then we spent some time developing the business case and getting approval for the project to install solar energy, PV panels in 20 to 30 schools. I think for me, wealth, true wealth, is eternal. It's investing in things that last, investing in family, investing in people, you know, so that the things you sow in people will last beyond your lifetime. And also in how you help to build a kingdom that is, you know, reflected in love and peace and so on, some things that outlast you.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date. Loving Hands Children's Network, LHCN, recently extended their loving arms to St. Richard's Primary School and Early Childhood Center as part of their campaign in Jamaica and the United Kingdom.
Loving Hands Children's Network is a social enterprise. We're a community organisation based in the United Kingdom. We've set ourselves up to help those in need, as in children, young adults with disabilities, those that are disenfranchised, and those young children, young people who are in real need, home and away. We have 5 representatives that work with us. We're all volunteers. Abigail and I, as we said, are co-founders. Yeah. We have 2 local representatives here in Jamaica. We have 2 representatives in the UK, and we have one who's a brand ambassador that's based in the United States of America. We're here to launch our Feeding Our Future campaign and to share our organisation with you guys in Jamaica.
I got a dream. And I wanted to fulfill that dream. So Antoinette and I became really close from working in the school, because where our daughter attends. And I presented that dream to her. And because I look up to her as a mentor as well, which I don't think she knows, but yeah. So I decided to present that to her, being, business-minded as she is. And I decided to bring it to life, really. And the name came to me in a dream, as I said, and we wanted to add something else to the name that could broaden it. So that's when Antoinette decided, let's call it a children's network, and that's how the name came about. Growing up, my mom didn't have enough money for me to attend school, so I was on a feeding program as well. Used to get vegetable and milk. I'm assuming they're still doing that. Yes, so, and for me, like what Antoinette mentioned earlier, I've done my research, and, it's very important for kids to have a meal in the morning. It's very important. So that's what inspired me, as well as my dream.
We've only been working with organisations in the UK at the moment, but then we've reached out to where we are here today, so St. Richard's Primary School, and also the Early Childhood Learning Centre, because Abigail came to St. Richard's Primary School, and we wanted to, as we said, give back and to share various initiatives that we've been talking about. My own child has disability, so I have a 16-year-old son who has autism. So, totally understand the pressures and the constraints for a parent. And I wanted to share that outside of the UK because I was being reached out to online and social media by families and friends with children with special needs, and the lack of support and resources here in Jamaica for those children.
We would like the government in Jamaica to help to support us. We feel like special needs to be recognized more, and children should not be shunned because they've got a special need. So we would like that to be recognized more by the government. The importance of the supporting children with special needs, being a special needs teacher as well, it's so rewarding to see, when you get them from September and say, for example, they've got speech and language or some form of physical disability, and to see the progress, and sometimes just you alone cannot support enough children. So we need that, that extra support, that governmental support.
We've kicked off and launched our Future campaign, Jamaica, and that basically comprises of a breakfast feeding and healthy choices eating plan. So we're working with principals at St. Richard's, so Mrs. Maureen Wong, and we're also working with Millicent Wilson here at the Early Childhood Learning Centre to promote and provide children with, healthy options, optional choices, and to learn how to eat well. We're very conscious, we've done research, we've looked into the impact of having breakfast and how that can enable you and energize you in order to learn, concentrate, build the brain and growth. We're not saying we're health experts by any means, but we are caring and cherishing parents, so we do understand and see the value in having a real warm meal, full healthy meal, vitamins, minerals each day.
Future plans would be to for us to have sponsorship, because at the moment we're doing everything, it's self-funded. We would love to have sponsorship because we found it quite challenging, self-funding the Feeding Our Future initiative. So yes, it would be lovely to have some form of sponsorship from the government.
And I would also add that as well as sponsorship, we're currently, as I said, being approached by many organisations, and it would be nice to see beyond, siloed projects come to life. It'd be really, impactful across the island so that we can enter into all the parishes with the Feeding Our Future programme, which we do intend to do. We'd like to roll it across all 14 parishes. We also want to make sure, again, we roll out the youth employability, where we're working with private organisations, government bodies, in order to, again, raise awareness of young people entering into work. We know how high youth unemployment is, not just in Jamaica, but also for us back home in the UK.
We're working and we've got kids. And we still, we're on it because, we're passionate, very passionate about the children, very.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
St. Richard's Early Childhood Centre has been established since 1985.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Millicent Wilson is the principal of St. Richard's Preschool and Early Childhood Centre. She is grateful for the support that she has gotten from Loving Hands Children's Network. So too is Maureen Wong, principal of St. Richard's Primary School. Both schools have a breakfast feeding program for all students.
St. Richard's Early Childhood Center has been established since 1985. It was operated by the Catholic Sisters. However, over the years, it was closed and reopened in 1999. That's when I started here. However, in 2013, I became the principal of St. Richard's Early Childhood Center. St. Richard's is a Catholic school, and we believe in nurturing spiritual values, social values, positive social values, and with that culminating with the academics can only have excellence. We currently have 197 students, including preschoolers. We have a staff of 15, including caregivers, ancillary staff, cooks. We have 3 persons who operate the kitchen, because we do our breakfast program at 7 o'clock in the morning, lunch program, and we also cater for the aftercare students, so we also give them a snack. 6 classrooms, all trained teachers, and so our students are being catered for, not just nutritionally, but academically. St. Richard's Early Childhood Center is situated in a inner city community where you find some students may come to school with little or no breakfast, little or no lunch. Being a Catholic institution, we believe it is quite fitting to ensure that our students are well nourished. And so we started our breakfast program in 2013. However, the government had come on stream to help us out because now the government is focusing on nutrition. However, the funding that we receive from the government sometimes cannot cover both breakfast, lunch, plus aftercare because those students are here until 6 o'clock in the evening. And so we are grateful for the help that we can get from Abigail, just about any help that we can get to ensure that our students are well fed. Abigail was a student at St. Richard's Primary School, but it's on the same compound as the Early Childhood Center. And she has decided to partner with us for a breakfast program, right? And she's just given back to her institution. She's so much in love with St. Richard's Primary School and what she has achieved. And so we are really grateful to be a part of this venture.
Many people would say St. Richard's Primary is operated as a prep school, a preparatory school. We prepare our children here to go out into the wider world. We have an holistic approach, and everyone, just about everyone, will want their children to come to St. Richard's Primary School. We have a very good program here, and it's not just about academics, it's well-rounded. We have sporting activities, we have the arts, we have a mixture of everything here at St. Richard's Primary School. And we pride ourselves in our motto, excellence or goal. So whatever it is that we do here at St. Richard's, we aim for the highest, and we always maintain a very high standard. Our claim to fame really is our academics. And every year when our students do the grade 6 achievement test that the government allows for all schools, for the primary to matriculate to the high schools, we are always on top of our games. We have a high percentage of persons going to the traditional high schools. And so that is one of our claim to fame, our academics. Our teachers here, they are very involved, they are very dedicated. Here at St. Richard's, we uphold our Christian values. Many of the staff members are Christians, and so they impart this to the students. And also that we collaborate with each other. If it is that there's a problem in the family, come and they speak with either the principal, vice principal, the guidance counselor, or just about the teachers. So we have an approach that says that we are family oriented and that we care about each other. We ensure that each child has a lunch. The PTA has a program where they adopt, so to speak, 10 students each year. They purchase the books and other supplies, the book bags, everything that 10 student needs. Also from outside we get sponsorship for those students, especially those who are struggling in terms of the financial aspect of things, and that they really show the true potential. So I have students who are sponsored by persons out there who really want to give back to the society. And we have persons like Abigail, who is a past student here at St. Richard's. And so it is that we are considered. I just would like to add that I thank persons like Abigail from Loving Hands, who is on board with St. Richard's Primary, that other persons, when they see this, that they too can come on board, because the school will benefit a lot from persons who look out and give back to society in this way.
We are ready to make a positive change. So whatever the challenges are, it is for us now to find persons who are trained and capable to help us in any area.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
It's not just about a piece of bread and butter. These guys are really getting some really good meals here, and we try to change it each day.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art, I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Kevin Nemard, the PTA president of St. Richard's Preschool and Early Childhood Center, sees the breakfast program as a welcome initiative.
When I got here and we saw that children here, the club parents just drop them off and that's it, and some of them didn't have a meal, some might not have lunch on a day-to-day basis. Now the idea came that, hey, let us start do something. So we started off really small to see what would be the response of the parents and the children. And try to make sure that we have a balanced learning zone here that is not just about teaching yourself, but make sure that if once you're
your tummy is full, you're better focused in class, you give less trouble in class because you know the worms growling and stuff in the tummy, you're distracted, so you tend to want to give trouble. Now when your tummy is full from early, because you're taught that the first meal of the day is the best meal. So here we started off, and our breakfast program is very, I think it's very good for me. It is awesome because it's not just about piece of bread and butter. These guys are really getting some really good meals here, and we try to change it each day. So one morning you might have porridge, real nice porridge. I tell the coolest auntie can cook, have mercy. When she go into the kitchen, everything just smells nice. Just smell it from way down the road and say, oh gosh, I can't wait to reach at school. So they might have like frankfurters and scrambled eggs, they have cereal, they have fruits. We have partnership with other persons who, parents who might give us some fruits, or we have some agreement, we buy fruits at a better price, and they have the holistic meal here to have. So it's not about us dry food and, like, oh gosh, the program, I'm so surprised I get every day. So every day is something different, and these kids actually look forward to coming here. My parents telling me that, I don't want any breakfast at home. The breakfast here is nice, so mommy don't need to do anything. Yeah, so that was very encouraging to hear that. And it wasn't anything planned. A child came and she said that to me, and the parents saw me, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know it was that good. So, it's a good project that we have here. Abigail spoke to us about her niece's intentions. And then we heard that she's not here in Jamaica, and she's in London there, and this is what she wants to do to give back. I thought that, okay, this seemed to be an interesting venture to do, because it's good to know that we can think outside of the box. And I'm happy that persons in their own little ways have a desire to want to give back to where they're coming from. Because one of the things we try to do here is to encourage persons that whatever you sow, as you heard the principal said earlier, the seed you sow today will benefit the community in the future. So if we can start here at this level, nourishing these young children's mind, encourage them to focus in on what is important, then we know that the future of Jamaica is much better than what it is now. So with our partnership with Abigail is, for me, a wonderful thing, and we're expecting great things with this partnership, and I hope that this thing will grow from strength to strength as we go along.
As St. Richard's continues to provide a holistic environment for our children, the parents are thankful for the thought and care shown to their children.
It's helped a lot, because in the morning when you wake up, even if you look out for breakfast at home, she's not going to eat it, but she loves to interact with the other kids when they're eating, so it helps out a lot.
It is very good because at home she doesn't eat, but eating here at the school, it helps because she interacts with other kids. So I think eating with other kids help her to eat as well, and she eat more.
I just want to thank those of who are helping to donate and continue to do it. I really appreciate it.
What do you want to tell me about your breakfast that you eat in the mornings and coming to school and having fun with your friends?
It's nice, and it keep my bellies when it's break time.
The breakfast program here is a cut above the rest. The kids get porridge, the vegetable, and my son and my daughter have breakfast every single morning. Even if they have breakfast at home, it's their duty to have breakfast here. And so it's a time when the kids get to, I don't know what Auntie put in the breakfast, but my son seems to love the porridge. And so I can't make porridge like Auntie, and my daughter seems to love her lunch. And she's putting on a lot of weight, but I love that about the school. The teachers and the chef, I just want to tell you thanks for your hard work, for taking care of my children. They know my son by name, Nehemiah, so when he comes in the morning, it doesn't matter what time they have his breakfast prepared, because he can't function without having his breakfast at school. And to the principal, she's doing a superb job in the sense of my daughter usually attends a prep school, and St. Richard's is a cut above the rest. It is like a mini prep school with a very minimal cost. And to Miss Douglas, she is the most loving teacher and the most kind teacher. And to Shireen, my daughter, is so elated with the school. The ministry should take a page out of what St. Richard's is doing here and let other schools adopt what they're doing, because the students are learning and the students are being experienced to a whole heap of stuff. And I think what St. Richard's is doing is like, it's a first world country. It's you know what we get in a first world country, and that's what I love about St. Richard's.
I think we have a fabulous staff here. I think the teachers are just great. It's not just a job for them, it's their career. They love what they do. They take the time out to individually speak to children, you know, even if they're being naughty, they take the time out to talk to the children, not about punishing them, but to show them and talk to them about what they're doing, and you know what would mommy say or daddy say if they heard that you were doing this, you know. So we try to inculcate the family life here, and not just coming to school, but beyond when you go back home.
I'm from the diaspora and I want to give back to Jamaica the skills and experience that we have and things that we can leverage from the UK to bring to Jamaica.
Even though sometimes we may say this is hard work, but we are committed.
Whose side are you waving on? Waving on the next way, why, wave, why, wave, why, wave, why, wave. Waving on the north side, so I wave, I wave, I wave, I wave. Waving on the south side. Whose side are you waving on? Waving on the north side. Whose side are you waving on? Waving on the next way, why, wave, why, wave, why, wave, I wave. Waving on the north side, so I wave, I wave, I wave, I wave. Waving on the south side.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got the chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here. because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them, teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world.